Peace and blessings, family. We are back with another video. I hope everyone is blessed. I hope everyone is growing. I'm excited for part 2 of emotional healing. I did jot down about 7 more points that has helped me in my healing journey. I feel like now is definitely the time to tap in, to be restored, to give your all to Yahusha and do what he wants you to do. So for number 1, I suggest that you make Yahusha the center of your life and not just a part of your life. So just an example. What do you think about when you wake up in the morning, throughout the day, before you go to bed? Whatever you are constantly thinking about is what you make the center of your life. That doesn't mean that, your children, your relationship, your career, all of those things don't matter, but don't make those your idol. We serve a jealous Elohim. He says he's a jealous God. He don't play that. So we have to make sure that he is the source of our joy, the source and the center of our lives. And when I started to do that, I noticed how careless I became, like kind of nonchalant. It wasn't until I centered Yahusha, and I'm still trying to make sure that I spend time with Yahusha. I read, I get up in the morning and I don't be on my phone first. I pray, and I'm still trying to make sure that just because I have a schedule, I don't make him just a part of my life, but make him the center. Like, he's a priority. Just like in a relationship, you want to feel like your spouse is prioritizing you, and just as much as we want that, it's even more that Yahusha wants us to center him. When we all pass away, we have to answer for everything. And one of the things that Yahusha will say is either, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," or "Depart from me, I never knew you." And I think that's one of the scariest things that anyone could hear, because you don't want to spend this life on earth never getting to know Yahusha for yourself and never spending time with the one who loves you the most. That's why I say make him the center of your life, for real. Number 2, I would say to control your mind. The enemy provokes you by planting seeds in your mind. And that's one of the ways where he tries to get us off balance. And stop overthinking. You know how after a certain situation happened and it hurt you, or whatever the case may be, sometimes we overthink and we be like, dang, I should have said this, or dang, I should have did this. Or you like, if I did this better, or if I would have. No, that's overthinking. The past is the past. So we cannot allow the enemy to sow seeds of woulda, shoulda, coulda in our mind. What we can do now is what we should focus on. Especially as a woman, we go through things monthly. So, you know what I'm saying? He tried to get us off balance and off track by our emotions, because it's kind of hard for us to control our emotions, but it's not impossible. And that's one of the main things I noticed when I was going through a tough time in my life. I kept overthinking things, but no, the only thing we can fix right now is what we can do moving forward. We have to cast those imaginations down. The word says, let's get into it. 2 Corinthians 10:4-6. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahusha. So that means we have to take captive those thoughts that the enemy try to plant in our mind. I'm not saying that our feelings aren't valid. When someone does something to us or certain situations happen, that doesn't mean that we aren't valid. We're wrong for feeling the way we do. But when it gets to the point where we're thinking about the situation over and over, where we having violent thoughts and we having all type of thoughts in our mind, at that point when you notice that you starting to replay things in your mind, that's the moment where I rebuke that in the name of Yahusha. You know what? No, counter that thought. Don't allow it to sit there and grow and fester, because that creates bitterness, resentment, keeps unforgiveness. Like, see, no, you got to cut it right then and there. You got to cut that off. Philippians 4:8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. It's easier said than done, but we have to practice mastering our emotions. You know, we are more than conquerors for real. Number 3, deliverance. Now, I do watch a sister. Her name is Tiffany Buckner on YouTube. I suggest y'all please go watch this sister video. She is anointed. She is used. She is being used by the Father. She talks about deliverance quite a bit. One of the things that stuck with me is that she said, before you get married, you should make sure that you're delivered, and also the other person should make sure they're delivered, and we both should make sure that we know how to deliver one another, because every day is not going to be perfect in marriage. Even in a relationship with your friend or your family, we have to learn how to cast demons out of one another, because we're going to be attacked in life. It's not going to be a perfect year, perfect few months. You know, we don't live in a perfect world. We have to be able to identify when we're off and when our person off. I heard someone say this too, and they said it's not fair for you to be married to someone that's full of demons and that's not delivered, or even trying to be actively delivered. And the same goes for that person. Or it's not fair for them, for the other person, to be married to you and you're still full of things that you haven't overcame, or at least haven't actively tried to be delivered from. The word also says that some spirits only come out through prayer and fasting, and that's why I believe prayer and fasting is very important too, because it's a lot of stuff that we go through because of certain spirits that sometimes you're not able to identify until, you know, you pray, until you fast, and them things come out. Another thing that has helped me in my healing journey is not to looking back. Don't look back. And I mean, don't look back at your old self. Don't look back into what you used to do. Don't look back at an old relationship. Don't look back at an old job. Don't look back at an old situation. Don't look back. And I'm going to even go as far as to say, don't look back at old text messages. Don't look back at old pictures. Matter of fact, they need to be deleted. Don't go back. Don't look at nobody's social media account. One of the prime examples is Lot's wife. So let's get into it. Genesis 19. Let's go to 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. Let's go further. Verse 23 to 26. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then Yahusha rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahusha out of heaven. So boom, they got out of there. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. They was saved. They was obedient. They left. So let's continue. 25. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and the inhabitations of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. 26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Whew. So that was one of the biggest things. Like, the angels told her not to look back, and she looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. So that's just self-explanatory. Just please do not look back. Do not ever look back or go back to what has broke you, to what has pulled you away from Yahusha, to what has had you compromise your faith or compromise who you are. And that could be your job, that can be a relationship, that can be anything or anyone. Do not go back to what you have been freed from. Another verse that stuck out to me too was Proverbs 26 and 11. As a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. So every time we as women think to go back to what broke us, think to go back to what Yahusha has saved us from, literally think about you going back to your throw up. Think about that and how silly that is. Let's go to point number 5. So point number 5, I would say identify and heal from childhood wounds. This is one of the things that for me personally, I never thought to do that until things got bad, you know, and I'm like, why did I attract this type of person? A lot of the things that you look past is kind of rooted from your childhood. And then honestly, if you don't really know your childhood wounds, I would say pray and ask that those roots be revealed in you. If it was a parent that hurt you, like say if you were molested or if you were raped, if you were abandoned, all of those things, whether it happened to you as a child, whenever it did happen to you, it stays with you even in your adult years. So you can be a certain type of person because of your childhood and because you aren't healed. And that's one of the things, you know, pray and ask to be revealed, the things that you do need to work on, the things that you do need to heal from, and ask that you are healed from it, because you can't do that stuff alone. Like for me, I'm going to use myself an example. I dealt with abandonment issues because of my dad not being there for me much growing up. So I searched for love in men, and I couldn't quite understand why I didn't feel fulfilled, you know, and why I kept attracting these certain type of men. It's because I wasn't healed. That childhood wound was not healed in me. So, you know, it really affects how you think, how you operate, how you carry yourself. That's why I always push getting to know Yahusha, getting to know him for yourself, and having that bond and that relationship with him, because it truly is healing, and it also helps you to love others better, and it also helps you to love yourself. And that goes into the 6th point that has helped me in my healing journey, is loving yourself. Like, as women in this society, just being a black woman, we're taught now to love ourselves, now that we're older and now that it's a trend, but you really do have to love yourself. And I'm not talking about just loving yourself without makeup on, but learning how to love yourself internally, being okay with being by yourself for a little bit, just you and Yahusha, you know, and not being a people pleaser, not having to prove that you're a good person to other people. And that's another thing too. If you're a people pleaser, you're gonna attract narcissists. If you don't have healthy boundaries, if you don't even set healthy boundaries with yourself and with other people, they're not going to respect you. Yes, we are supposed to love our neighbors. We are supposed to see the need, meet the need, but don't be a pushover. Don't try to fit in a mold that someone wants you to fit in because they want you to do it. However you are and what you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be is supposed to be in alignment with Yahusha. If you really love yourself, you will know that being outside and having sex with multiple people and just trying to be hard and all of that, that's not true love of loving yourself. And just an example of setting healthy boundaries, I would say, for instance, if you and a brother are interested in getting to know each other, you should already have healthy boundaries within yourself. Like, you know what, for an example, I'm gonna just use myself an example. If I know that I have music to make, I have to get up early in the morning, I gotta cook, I gotta meal prep, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. One of my healthy boundaries for myself is I need to make sure I get quality sleep, because when I am up and I'm just scrolling on Instagram or whatever, that I'm going to be cranky in the morning, and I'm not going to be in the best mood to do what I need to do, you know, and give Yahusha my all if I ain't getting no good sleep. And that's just one of the healthy boundaries. And let's just put it out there, a lot of men are lustful, a lot of men want to control you, so you have to make sure that you have healthy boundaries within yourself, that you speak up for yourself. It's something, and if someone is making you uncomfortable, that goes for friendships too. Something is making you uncomfortable, speak on that. Hey, that made me very uncomfortable when you was cursing at me. If we were going to talk about this, can we just talk as adults? Let's not curse. Let's establish that we're going to respect each other and hear each other out, not just to respond, but to understand where we're coming from. That's a healthy boundary, you know. And I think that just as a woman who wants to feel loved, a lot of us didn't have our real fathers in our lives. However, that's no excuse to continue a toxic cycle. With loving yourself, establishing those boundaries, just being a good woman, a beautiful woman, not just on the outside but on the inside, is true love, self-love. And I'm not talking about self-worship, self-idolatry, like I'm the baddest in the room. No, but we offer way more than our looks, sisters. Like, we are so much more than what society tells us. It's not just about being a girl boss or being, you know, we're daughters of a king, so we should carry ourselves like that, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And honestly, how do we expect to be respected if we don't respect ourselves and we don't hold people to boundaries? And last but not least, is number 7. Learn your generational curses and break them. Whether that's smoking, whether that's drinking, whether that's a spirit of killing, whether that's lust, whatever it is, we have the opportunity to be the generational curse breakers. That means telling yourself no. That means being disciplined. That means not allowing certain things to even be in your spirit. That means cutting things off, cutting people off. That means all of those things, praying, fasting. That means really getting in your word and not even allowing yourself to be attached to not only just a friend, but not allowing yourself to be attached to a brother that you know have similar generational curses. Like it goes so deep. and I talk about relationships too, because as sisters, you know, majority of us do want to be married, and we shouldn't go into courtship with the mindset of, oh, I think we'll be beautiful together, I think we'll have beautiful kids. No, we should be going into situations like, you know what, if we have a child, what would our child struggle with? What generational curses could be a possibility? What health issues could be a possibility? What mental illness could be a possibility? Like, all of those things to come into play. It's not just about, oh, I think we'll be so cute on the gram, or it's not about that, y'all. So I got married young. I didn't understand how important it was to choose your spouse wisely. Of course I knew, don't marry a stranger, don't marry a lunatic, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't understand that I should have went into the marriage with the mindset of, okay, who is this person behind closed doors? What demons does he fight? If you're a sister, and I talked about this a little bit in part 1, so I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna add this to that last little part. I'm gonna end it with this. If you are not married and you want to be married, and you know that's one of your desires, understand that whoever that person is right now, the things that you see them struggling with right now, if you marry them how they are now, you're marrying that same man. If he's not changed now, it's going to be harder for him to change when you get married. Those generational curses are so important for us to keep in mind when we are considering marrying someone, becoming one with someone, having children with someone, because your children can potentially have the same demons, have the same curses on them if you don't break them, and if that other person don't break them, and are actively trying to break them. So I pray that this was helpful, and I pray that this blessed you as well. If you have any suggestions or anything that has been helping you on your healing journey, please comment them down below, and I pray that y'all keep growing, keep healing, and enduring. Peace and blessings. Shalom.